Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 26th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Sunday. Hopefully it's been a fun day for you. My day's been pretty good, but let's wind the clock back to Saturday. I actually wound up going out on a Saturday night. We went to Northside, saw the homies, got to, do the usual hangs, which was very nice. Went to Chameleon to start off. And the pizza was on. We're so back for good pizza. I got all 3 slices this time. Now, I can't remember the details on each slice, but they had a lot going on. They had this potato leek pizza that also had some potatoes on it. It had all kinds of stuff going on, and it was very yummy. I can't remember everything on it, but that was, I don't know if that was my favorite, though. The other one had some kind of pesto on it. I think it was like some kind of orange pesto, like a carrot type of pesto, maybe. Don't quote me on that. It had a lot of things on it, though. No gremolata, so it was good. That was the Bianca. And then I had a pepperoni pizza, a slice of that. So all 3 were good. I wish I could have remembered what was on all of them, but it was good. It was a return to force for Chameleon. I was very happy. Then also I got the Cajun fries, which were very good, very yummy. So yeah, dinner was great. Love that for me. Post that, we went to Tavern, and I had a couple of drinks at Chameleon, so I really wasn't really feeling like drinking too much, and then also budgetary reasons that I'm gonna get into for the Sunday part of my blog. But I was like, okay, let's just get a coffee. Let's just drink a little coffee. I was very tired as well, so that was nice to kind of help perk me up a little bit, and kind of just hung out there. Then we closed out at Junkers, had a couple of beers, hung out, vibed out. It was good. And then we went home, or at least back to HQ, I should say. And I had a sourdough, an egg, and cheese sandwich. So yeah, shout out to my homie Ryan. He really whipped it up. He chefed it down. So yeah, that was good. That was yummy. And that's how we closed the night. Very, very classic night in Northside. So yeah, I had a good time. We woke up pretty good, early hour, and then got home, went back to sleep. So that was nice. And now that we're in the Sunday, I woke up, and I'm not gonna lie, I was dreading going to the grocery store. Mainly because my budget is so pressed, it's so maxed. It's pretty much looking like I'm going to be coming up late on my rent. And I mean, I've done pretty good. I've had a pretty long track record of not doing that. It's been a while since I've had to, talk to the landlord and explain that to them and then take the fee and all that. But just looking, at my whole budget for the first of the month, I'm just like, oh, it's just not going to line up. It doesn't matter how I slice it. It doesn't matter what I do. And so that's been, on my mind over the past, week or so, because it's been coming up, but more so in the, in the past, day. So I go to the grocery store, and I'm just like, what do I do? What should I do? Because technically I shouldn't get anything, but, I need to eat. So I just said, you know what, fuck it. It is what it is. If you kind of already know that you're going to have to just be late on that, you're just going to have to take the L on that. Just get the groceries, at least for this week. I know next week is going to be even more of an issue, but, at least this one's going to be solid. I can eat, do my thing, have a normal last week in October and not really worry about it. So that was the situation for today. I did wind up getting, instead of the yogurt raisins, I got, these little mini peanut butter cups. And initially, I was going to get the chocolate peanuts, but they didn't have any. I was kind of bummed about that. But then I looked at the price tag for what that would have been, and it was $10. So I was like, Yo, like, and that's the thing that sucks, man. Like, the grocery store is really bleeding me out. We've talked about this before, but just with all the tariff hikes and everything, like, you really just see it going up and up and up. Also, maybe this is me being a bit speculative, but we've talked about dynamic pricing before on the pod, and I noticed that, and man, I, like, once again, might be wrong here, but they put in a new thing of like tags, or not barcode tags, but price tags, price tags on everything in the or in the grocery store. And I was like, that's interesting. These look like digital price tags, and it almost makes me think that these are price tags that you can easily change for something like a dynamic pricing. Now, granted, I don't want to say that it's that, because dynamic pricing is something where they're like, oh, at one part of the day, it will be one price, and then in another part of the day, it'll be another price. And that's supposed to be good for the consumer somehow. It's like, no, they get to jack it up when they feel like, oh, it's going to be busy or whatever. And, they pretty much are going to maximize their profits with stuff like this, if that's the case. Now, maybe this is just a cleaner, more efficient way for them to change their tags. If that's the case, awesome, cool, love that. But it just it was giving precursor to something of that effect. And I was like, this is making my stressful grocery run even more stressful. I don't like it. I was looking like the detective from Dexter when he's just trying to figure out. He's like in the car. He's like in the club. He's pressing Dexter. That's why I was looking at these fucking like price tags. Like, what's going on here? Why are you so expensive? But no, we got through groceries okay. I got everything I needed, and that was solid. I will say I spent like $80, so that sucks. But it is what it is. We got home, hung out for a quick second, then went to the gym. Gym went well. It was nice because no one was there. It was very open. And I just did the full workout, my full fucking thing. It was nice. It was nice to be back in action fully, not doing any kind of partials, not cutting out anything. So that was nice. It felt good. We'll see what tomorrow brings, because I know it's usually busy on Mondays. So, hopefully, we get everything in again. Knock on wood, huh? But yeah, no, overall, good gym session. It's been overall a good day. Like I said, I've had money on my mind, derogatory, but, trying not to freak out too much. We got, November and December, and then that's the end of the year, and we're in January, and, you round the board, you collect $200. At least that's the vibe, right? So I'm just trying to keep that mentality and keep it pushing, day by day. So yeah, there's that. That's been my weekend. It's been a good weekend, been a solid weekend. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. And I also wanted to add about the peanut butter cups. They were good. I had a remainder of those yogurt raisins, so they went into the snack cup, or the nut cup, as I like to say. And just the whole thing, that was a top tier snack moment for me. So I enjoyed that. It is crazy though that, fancy or quote unquote gourmet nuts have become my avocado toast. I feel like that's my, what some would say, economists might say, are my, millennial vice or whatever. It's what's leading me to fiscal ruin, maybe among other things. But once again, it just sucks. It sucks to be able to do the things that you've been doing, for years. I've been on my own since like 28. And it's crazy that like I just find myself like struggling in a whole new way. It feels, it's very stifling. It's very frustrating, but that's living life, even though I am 35 years old, there is, always a new challenge, always a new struggle. And, hopefully there's something to learn. Hopefully there's some place to grow. And hopefully I do get to a nice, comfortable place at one point. That's really what I'm hoping for in this life. That's what would make me happy. It's just being content and being able to just keep doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? That's really all I want in life. That's my big dream at this point. I don't know. Call me crazy. All right. Anyway, let's get into our first story for the day. From WGAL 8, or at least I think that's what it is. Anyway, DA, one person killed, six others at Lincoln University, or six others shot at Lincoln University. I'm sorry. One person is dead and six others were hurt during a shooting at Lincoln University, according to Chester County District Attorney Chris D. Barrena Sorobi. Barrena Sorobi identified the victim of the shooting as a 25-year-old man from Wilmington, Delaware. The six other victims are expected to survive. One of the victims is a current student and one is an alumni, according to Barrena Sobe. The rest are not affiliated with the university. One suspect is in custody. Investigators believe there are multiple shooters of the event. They also do not suspect that the shooter or shooters planned the mass casualty event. The DA said 21-year-old Zaquaeus Morgan Thompson is charged with carrying a concealed firearm on campus without a license. According to court documents, an officer responding to the scene of the shooting saw Morgan Thompson in possession of a handgun. The gun was seized and Morgan Thompson was arrested. In an interview with police, Morgan Thompson allegedly admitted to keeping the loaded handgun concealed on his person while on campus on October 25th. He said the gun belonged to his mother and he did not possess a license to carry a concealed weapon. There is still an ongoing investigation. Barrena Sorobe said police are conducting grid searches of the crime scene along with the FBI. They're still conducting interviews and reviewing the gathering video They're still conducting interviews and reviewing and gathering video evidence. Barrena Sorobe thanked the public who has provided officials with video of the incident and encouraged anyone else who had video of the scene to submit it to the FBI. Stitching together videos is going to be a key part of this investigation, said the DA. He also said the investigators are not sure how many shots were fired or how the incident started and encouraged anyone who had seen something to say something. The university was celebrating homecoming at the time of the shooting. Barrena Sorobe said there was chaos once the shooting started as the event was jam-packed. The school is currently off limits to pedestrians, but space will be open for a community gathering planned for tomorrow at noon. This comes just a day after a shooting at Howard University, also a HBCU. So yeah, this was a unfortunate development that I saw when I was just chilling out and about last night. So I figured I'd start the day with that. Obviously, condolences to the victim who lost their life and everyone else who was shot at and had to go through that whole event. But if I get any more details, I will definitely come back to that story. Our next story comes from CNN. Trump's Asia trip. U.S. and China agree to framework of a deal. The U.S. has reached a framework agreement with China to avoid imposing an additional 100% tariff on Chinese imports, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in interviews this morning. The apparent progress comes during the first leg of President Donald Trump's diplomacy tour in Asia, easing tensions before this week's highly anticipated meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Beyond trade talk, Trump is expected to urge Xi to join the U.S. pressure campaign against Russia. Trump spent his first day of his trip in Malaysia, where he oversaw the signing of a peace declaration and was greeted with fanfare and lavish praise by Southeast Asian leaders. Now, that peace declaration was between Thailand and Cambodia. It's kind of believed to be largely symbolic to saying, hey, we are still committed to working towards peace and de-escalation. But I don't know how much in terms of like the details of that are being actually hammered out and worked on or all that. Hopefully so. We know we covered that bit more detail, in, a month or so ago. But, yeah, things are still simmering, definitely, in that situation. I wouldn't say that this is like actually, this is super cool. Once again, Star Wars, A New Hope. We're all super happy, Trump's dancing, having a good time. Everyone's yucking it up. Like, that might be much of a surface thing, but there's still work to be done there for sure. But yeah, I mean, this could be potential good news in terms of the tariff talks not being at 100% hike on China. Hopefully they are getting somewhere and this isn't some kind of, puff up, pump up thing. And, we're going to see the floor come out of this by the time he actually gets to Xi Jinping, or something changes. I don't fucking know. You never know with the political climate these days. But, I'm going to take this as a good thing, just because, once again, I'm talking about getting boiled alive at the grocery store. Everything is getting more and more expensive. The last thing I want to see is, any kind of Chinese good, hit even harder before the year's even over. That shit has lasting fucking impact for sure. But we're still talking tariffs. We're still talking Donald Trump. I'm sure there's going to be more from his trip, throughout Asia. I'm sure he'll be making some kind of waves, some kind of action. But yeah, let's go ahead and move to The Guardian. Trump raises tariffs on Canada by 10% in retaliation for anti-tariff TV ad. Donald Trump announced on Saturday that he will raise U.S. tariffs on Canada by 10% in retaliation for an anti-tariff advertisement sponsored by the Ontario government, which has further strained one of the world's largest trade partnerships. The statement, posted on the U.S. President's Truth Social account, came after several days of public disputes over the ad, which referenced Ronald Reagan's support for free trade and provoked the U.S. anger. So I'm going to go ahead and just skip ahead. We talked about this recently, so I don't really feel the need to really reiterate it. The ad did air throughout the weekend. It did play for Game 1 of the Major League Baseball World Series, Blue Jays versus the Dodgers. Also, Dodgers won last night. Not that I'm really keeping track of that shit too hard, but, my friend asked me, or we kind of got on the subject. Neither of us really give a fuck about sports. But I'm like, no, I'm rooting for the fucking Dodgers. I'm rooting for the Dodgers, and you know why? America. It's weirdly the weird time where I'm gonna get any kind of nationalistic, because once again, I really don't give that much of a shit. I don't follow any of these teams that hard, but it's like, no, you gotta root for your team, right? And I mean, that's the only team I got here in this situation. I'm not rooting for Canada. I don't like Canada like that. And also, I mean, hey, Shohei Ohtani, we talked about him a little bit on the pod for other reasons, but I fuck with him. He's cool. Anyway, we're not here to talk about fucking baseball. We're talking about goddamn tariffs. The Trump administration in August imposed a 35% tariff on Canadian goods not covered by the USMCA. Canada's economy has suffered from sector tariffs of 50% imposed this year by Trump on steel and aluminum from all countries. So I just wanted to get that in the mention there. It's so frustrating because we have to be happy that it's just gonna hopefully be this 10% and it won't be worse. All over an ad that pissed you off, like, just get the fuck over it, dude. Like, this is the art of the deal. Like, no, this is having a temper tantrum. It's fucking annoying. So I hate to see it. It's a bummer. It's lame, but I mean, Trump's gonna do what he do. I don't know what to tell you. We'll see if this has an effect that I guess Canada maybe wanted, which they were trying to say that, hey, we want to influence Americans to kind of see that, like, this isn't useful, this isn't helpful, this isn't what even people who think they want this actually want. And I mean, do I think the Supreme Court's gonna give a damn about this shit in conversation, in hearings or whatever coming up? No, I don't think they give a fucking shit about that at all. But we'll see. We shall see. All right, so we have one more story that I wanted to cover before I let you go today. And we gotta go back to France. We gotta go back to the Louvre. So, I'm kind of excited. We've just been talking so much heist. I can't get enough of it. And this is a honest to blob, fucking update. So let's get into it. But, start, last break, then that. Ooh. So, and I bet longtime listeners, steady listeners are like, wait, I thought you were supposed to be working on Sunday. So you didn't work today? Good call. Good catch. I didn't work today. I got a last minute notification that they didn't need me. So I was like, oh, that's a bummer because I definitely could use the money right now. That overtime pay would be very useful. But what can you do? What can you do? It's nice to have your time with your friends and being able to have the day that I had today where it wasn't super busy was nice, So I'll take it for what it is. I know I'm going to go into next week and the top of next month stressed, but I mean, that's kind of an inevitable thing. So it goes. And, I've told myself this before, but it is something that is nice about the podcast is I've known that I tend to worry and freak out and, go to the worst place about what could happen in the future, but I always seem to find a way to make it. So once again, we're knocking on that wood, and I know I don't do that alone. I know I do that with the help of my friends and family, but we always seem to find a way, and that's always what I'm hoping for. Just got to keep pushing, keep fighting, So anyway, let's get to the Louvre. From CBS News, arrests made in crown jewelry heist at Paris Louvre Museum, prosecutors say. 2 people were arrested in connection with the theft of crown jewels from Paris Louvre Museum. A Paris prosecutor said on Sunday, a week after the brazen heist at the world's most visited museum. The prosecutor said investigators made the arrest Saturday evening, adding that one of the men taken into custody was preparing to leave the country from Paris's Roissy airport. French media BFM TV and Le Parisien newspaper earlier reported that 2 suspects have been arrested and taken into custody. Paris prosecutor Laurie Bacau did not confirm the number of arrests and did not say whether jewels had been recovered. A police official who is not authorized to speak publicly about the ongoing case told the Associated Press that 2 men in their 30s, both known to the police, were taken into custody. He said one suspect was arrested as he attempted to board a plane bound for Algeria. The official added that one of the suspects was identified through DNA traces. Bacau said earlier this week that forensic experts were analyzing 150 samples at the scene. The suspects can be held in police custody, up to 96 hours. So them spotting it on DNA, that's interesting, because I know we talked about them doing the fire on the crane. Was that to burn DNA evidence? Was it the crane where they found said DNA evidence? Maybe at any given point of this, I kind of want to say smash and grab style, because once they got the crane up and in, they got themselves in, they, kind of moved very efficiently to kind of get what they needed and got out. In that process, was DNA left? Who knows? Who can say? I believe that's 2 out of 4 of the men that were involved, at least physically there, involved in the heist. We don't know if it's any kind of inside job. It's a bit of speculation, of course. I don't know. But, $102 million in total. I know we mentioned that. Under 8 minutes that this whole operation fucking took. Very impressive. And I'll even add, with the arrest, that's still very impressive, because you still have 2 people out at large. We don't know the fate of the jewels. So, am I still going to hold the C ranking? Yes. I'm not moving it, though. I think C+ is fine. Yes, like I said, some people got captured, but overall, still, it's seemingly successful. I don't know. Who can say? But yeah, this was definitely a big development. They were able to catch 2 people within the week. That's you got to give them credit for that. They were on it. We'll see what comes if they do wind up getting any more arrests, if they do find any of the jewels. We'll definitely be back to yap about it. But yeah, so there you go. There's a bit of a Louvre update. But yeah, that's all we have for today. And I don't like to shill on Sundays. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.